Now, to answer how we can use TikTok principles to aid interviews in the public service, I decided to come up with an acronym called CAP, CAP. And these are ideally principles, like I mentioned, that are relevant to TikTok that you can still adopt into your interview process. The C stands for concise, where you're able to share specific stories. Like I mentioned, this presentation is ideally going to center on how you can use storytelling during your interview process. The A stands for authentic, where not only are you sharing authentic stories, but you are believing in the story, the skill, and the experience that you embody. And P, practice, practice, practice. I know many of us, we say practice makes perfect, but not only does it make perfect, it also makes progress. And I'm going to briefly elaborate on how each of this acronym can be adjusted or can be adopted into your interview process. C, concise. So many of you that are TikTok consumers or on Instagram or on any video-based social media will know that ideally TikTok gives you between 30 seconds to 3 minutes to make your video. And in this short period of time, you are supposed to tell a compelling story. You're supposed to capture your audience. You're supposed to do something that will grasp the attention of whoever the consumer is. And ideally, the same things applies to the interview. You're only maybe giving 30 minutes to an hour of an interview, and you're supposed to ensure that you're sharing skills, you're sharing experiences that are relevant to what the recruiter is inquiring about. So it's very important. And I know I shared this during my last Apolitical session, where for me, I have an accomplishment folder in my Outlook email. So any accomplishment, any award I get, any compliment I get from a colleague, from my manager, I save all those emails in that accomplishment folder. Now, what that does is anytime I have a task or anytime I have an interview, what I can now do is go into this folder, review these experiences, review these stories, and they actually will be able to enable me to be able to share that story anytime I enter into an interview. I know sometimes one of the key things is when we go into an interview and we are asked, tell me about a time when, you realize that there are so many experiences that you've had. And one of the roadblocks you get is, what experience should I share? Because there are a ton. But having this folder can ideally help you, or maybe if you're not a digital person, you can have a notebook where you jot, you take record of everything that you have ideally experienced. And also, one of the ways you can also have a very concise storytelling or experience sharing during your interview is to use the STAR method. And I know I saw in the chat where a lot of people shared that the STAR method has been great for them. And also bear in mind that situational questions, behavior-based questions, require situational and behavior-based answers. You don't just say that, for example, you're asked a question about tell me a time when. You don't just talk about how you were able to overcome that situation, but most importantly, you have to emphasize on how that experience can now better the company that you're applying for or aiming to get into. Moving forward, the A in the acronym in CAP is authentic. It's very important that during interviews, you're authentic, you're genuine. Believe in yourself. It's important that anytime you're at an interview, don't sell yourself short. Emphasize on the selling points, and I'm going to elaborate on this later on during our Q's and A's. But believe in yourself, believe in your skills, believe in your experience, because you are not an imposter. Now, in regards to the P, practice, practice, practice. It's highly expedient that before an interview, in order to be well prepared, in order to reduce and mitigate some of the nerves, which, by the way, will come on because it's inevitable, you have to practice. Do mock interviews, practice with trusted friends and family. Ask people who are hiring managers on LinkedIn that, hey, I have a job interview coming up. Can you please help me, or can you please spare me 15 minutes of your time and do a mock interview with me? And also, one of the ways that will help you during your practice is also prepare for unexpected questions and know how you tackle them.